Father in heaven, bless us as we gather today for this meeting. Guide our minds and hearts so that we will work for the good of our community. Teach us to be generous in our outlook, courageous in the face of difficulty, and wise in our decisions. Thy will be done. Amen.
Amen. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'd like to call this Hancock County Commission to order. This 21st day of January, Thursday at 2:35. Please turn off all cellular devices. Item 1, approval of minutes. Approval of County Commission minutes for January the 7th, 2016. Move to approve. I have a motion to approve. Are there any additions, corrections to the minutes? If none, I'd like to call for a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 3-0. Citizens presentations. Carol Shearbaum, West Virginia Extension Agent, Hancock County, presenting the 2015 Hancock County Extension Office annual reports. Carol?
I'm always very grateful for the partnership that we have with the Commission and the Board of Education, and just kind of wanted to give you an idea of some of the highlights of what we've done this past year. It's been a really busy year. It's been a really good one. As I sat back and reflected, I thought, wow, we got a lot done. We did get our office finally. It's painted and we're moved around, and now we're going through a process of looking through and reorganizing and trying to get rid of some things and streamline. So we're still continuing on with that work. But this past year, we celebrated 100 years of 4-H camping in West Virginia. West Virginia is the first state in the nation that I know of that held 4-H camps, and we have the first state 4-H camp ever down at Jackson's Mill. But we just celebrated that 100 years this year. And we had 79 youth attended 4-H camp here in Hancock County. And we had approximately 1,050 volunteer hours from my leaders and camp staff who come back every year and sleep in a metal bed on an uncomfortable mattress in the heat and no air conditioning at Tomlinson Run, and we have a great time. And looking at that from the independent sector, the value of volunteer hours, that added over $21,000 in value back to our camp that we would have had to have passed on to the campers if we would have had to have paid people. We had 25 of our youth, which is over 25% of our overall membership, went to a state or a national camping opportunity last year. We had 15 of our local youth participated in our Clover Bud Day Camp, and I have a picture, and I'm going to be sending these over to Mr. Smith, of some of our Clover Buds. And they really had a great time learning about science, engineering, math, and we had them even doing some things, building rockets this year, whether using air pressure or chemical reactions, and they had a great time. They found out that if they stomped on the bottle rocket, the rocket would fly far, but if they jumped on it, it would fly even further. So I have a great shot of one of our kids in action, literally feet off the ground. County camp, of course, we do a lot of work every year, and one of the things that we do value there is citizenship, and every day our youth take care of presenting and raising and lowering the American flag. We had all of our clubs take part in community service in one way or another. At camp, we make sure that we are cleaning trails, we are taking part in recycling, and at Clover Bud Camp, we had our youth taking part in a community service project as well, in which they made toys that we were given to the Brooke and Hancock County animal shelters as gifts. So we're teaching those values at a very young age. Of course, our Energy Express program continues to grow. We had 83 children this last year. We had 77 volunteers contributed 1,485 hours, which added over $30,000 in value back to Energy Express. 70% of the funding for that program, which was over $37,000, was provided by WVU, and the remaining funding that we need, we raised locally. We had a lot of soil tests performed this year with our community. WVU has continued last year to provide those for free. We were also working with workforce development. We have partnered now with the National Council on Aging, and we have a woman working in our office 2 days a week at no cost to the community, but she provides an additional 15 hours of work and service in our office that has been invaluable to us. We certainly have valued the work with our AmeriCorps members in the classroom, but they also are there receiving professional development and workforce training themselves as a part of our programs. Our nutrition outreach education worker got started last year. She was in one of our schools, and 114 of our youth were reached with 27 hours of evidence-based programming about making good decisions and healthy behaviors around nutrition and exercise and wellness. We worked with, and we also try and partner locally with different organizations such as the Advocates for Substance Abuse Prevention. And we were able to help them with myself and some others, the volunteers involved. We're able to write a grant through the Office of National Drug Control Policy, Drug-Free Communities Program, which is going to bring $125,000 a year for 5 years for a total of $625,000 back into Hancock and Brooke counties. And some of that we partner with the local sheriff's departments, and we certainly appreciate their help in performing compliance checks and making sure that our servers and sellers are doing so responsibly when they sell alcohol. One of my other pictures I will pass around, and I love this one, is one of my 4-H members. 4-H has always been known as a lot with animals, and this picture was taken out at our Camp Barra facility. This young lady's about 11 years old, and she learned, and I've watched her learn how to ride over the last few years. And she's just done an amazing job with her animal, going from a young girl who was being led around, of course, by her parents, and to now being a young lady who can participate in some speed classes and just be full out and fully confident. She could not be any more further stretched out over her horse's neck if she were a jockey. I mean, I love that shot. And I'm very proud of her to see her grow in that skill and that confidence in being able to take care of her horse and also do so safely. And you will notice, yes, she is wearing a helmet. So when I started looking at some of the numbers with our volunteers through the in-kind matches, their value added back to the community is about $219,000. And with the cash and the funds that we raised through WVU for Energy Express and our nutrition outreach and our NCOA, that added cash back into the community of over $69,000. So that our total value, from what we can see, is about $290,850 back into the community as a result of the partnership that we have. So we really appreciate the opportunities, but wanted you to see that there is effectiveness and how much then that by providing staff and the location that we can use, I have staff that are able to assist me and we're able to give back into the community. And the other number I wanted to highlight for Commissioner Davis is we reached 279 local middle and high school students with financial management curriculums. I knew you would like that number. So do you have any questions for me?
No, thank you for the information, and thank you for the good job that you did. Well done.
Thank you.
I have no other citizens' presentations. Correspondence, item 3. Melissa Smith, Executive Director, West Virginia Courthouse Facilities Improvement Authority, requesting a letter of support for the West Virginia Courthouse Facilities Improvement Authority.
Move to make it a matter of record and send a letter to Melissa supporting her organization.
Just to refresh your memory, she was the young lady that was here last time. Steve, you were absent. She was here the last meeting and presented us with a check for $100,000. Just not the one check. This is our Robert,
$643,000.
643. We've got through this, so we'd be glad to give her a letter of recommendation.
We can overnight that letter if necessary, just to make sure we accommodate her.
Yeah. Hand deliver it.
We'll do that.
Further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 3-0. Item 4, new business, County Commission approval of budget revision number 2 for FY 15-16. Karen?
Yes, sir. It's just our second revision for the fiscal year. Been in the works for a while, but
Yes.
we finally got it worked out.
Yes, it has.
It's ready to go. Go to the state.
Move to approve.
Discussion? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 3-0. New business 2, approval of internal budget revision FY 15-16.
With 6 months finished, I just like to go through and check the numbers, and occasionally there'll be a 0.5% or 1% off, and I just like to get them back in order. I mean, they're just minor staffing changes, which changed benefits and things of that nature, and a couple departments that I didn't make the adjustments until we got the 6 months in.
Anything out of line?
No, sir.
Move to approve.
Further discussion? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. 4B, Dogwood, approval of the December 15 monthly report. It's in your packet.
Move to approve.
Discussion? Barking dogs, 4.
Same dogs have been on there the last 6
Yeah,
months.
it's always 4. It'll be the same numbers. Call for a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 3-0. 4C, Office of Technology and Communications, requesting second reading of ordinance amendment enhanced emergency telephone system rates and first reading of the amended public meeting date. Robert, you want to explain that terminology for us?
We had the first reading last week. We've been in discussion with Mr. Lucas as to the correct procedure of when the second reading should be and when the meeting should be. And because there's a need for a 30-day public notice, we need to change the date. We had originally set it as, wanted it to be February 18th, but there's not 30 days before the 18th of February after this reading. So we're going to move the meeting back until March 3rd. The public meeting will be at 1 o'clock on March 3rd.
Move to approve the date.
Clarification. Is this, so the set, is this all one motion?
Yeah, you can do it in one motion. It really, you have to read it at least 2 times.
So this is the second reading.
This would be the second reading of it. However, the amendment for the public meeting date would be a significant amendment. It has to be done twice. So simply what I would just do is simply, again, read the title, make note of the new date, and go forward. So what you're going to end up with in the end is more than just simply 2 readings, but that's just a benefit to the public because they're getting even more notice.
So I would request a motion of the second reading of the ordinance amendment enhanced emergency telephone system rates and a March 3rd, 1 o'clock public meeting time. Does that make sense?
That makes sense.
So move.
Discussion. Questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 3-0. Thank you. Item 2, requesting approval of resignation of John Paul Jones effective March 1, 2016, and payment of accumulated vacation time.
So move.
Discussion.
Jonesy, hanging it up, huh?
Yes, actually, probably after 18 or 19 years of this, things change, and philosophies need to change in offices. And my office needs to move forward more so than what Andy Condick and Carl Sutton and I have done. It needs to go forward, and that's philosophy change. New blood.
Well, congratulations on your retirement.
Thank you.
Sometimes, Mr. Jones, change isn't good. Throw that in.
You're right.
So, Jeremy, what's that say for you?
There's a lot to be done.
Actually, John, that was a compliment to you.
No, thank you, Mike.
Further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. C3, requesting approval to advertise for an architect for the installation of an ADA-compliant elevator in the courthouse.
Move to approve.
Discussion? Cut and dry? Nothing?
This is for the grant that we just received. Installing an elevator is beyond my expertise, so I believe we need an architect to do drawings and/or design. We did have someone from the LWCFIA come up last week, and we walked through the building to give us an idea. If what we had suggested was correct. Hopefully, we'll have that about the time that we advertise for the architect, so we can go forward with what hopefully will be the best plans.
You'd have saved us a lot of money if you could have done it.
I understand that.
Yeah.
I'm lucky I can walk the steps and ride an elevator, let alone design. So,
Are we committed to accept the low bid here?
no, sir.
Okay.
We can.
So in other words, the best for our courthouse.
We can accept the bid that has the best expertise in the area. We can make the bid qualified on that. So we're going to look for people that have done elevator job and retrofitted buildings with them.
Okay.
So.
Is there a motion?
There was.
Thank you. No further discussion. Call for a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item 4, requesting approval of consent agreement regarding the proposed grant eligibility of Gas Valley Sports Complex in accordance with the Land and Water Conservation Fund Act.
Move to approve.
Robert, you want to interpret that for the public?
With this grant, we were asked to limit the use of the property, so to speak, to recreational use only. So Mr. Lucas has written a consent agreement to go along with the deed for the property that says it will be used for recreational uses only. And that is, I believe it's what, Section 6F of the Land and Water Conservation Fund Act or something.
That's correct. You got it.
Once I write it, I usually remember the section. So this is in compliance with that. We'll give basically say that the Gas Valley property will be used as a sports complex, and that's what the concession and bathrooms will be used for.
Councilor, anything to add?
If you want the money, you got to live by their requirements, and that's there's strings attached to it. It is their money. So, and it does not affect the entire property out there. It simply affects the 7.42 acres that is known as the Gas Valley Park. So that's the long and short of it. That this is a typical requirement for anything like that. Bob and I have looked at this for a while, and this has been approved through the West Virginia Development Office, which handles this funding.
And you can still rent the shelter and anything to anybody that's there. And rental of that shelter considers them the recreational use for the day.
Questions, gentlemen? Good. Call for a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 3-0. Sheriff's Department requesting approval to purchase 3 2006 sedan police interceptors in the amount of $78,051.
Move to approve.
Questions, discussion?
Questions? Sheriff, are these Fords? What kind of vehicles are
Yeah,
these?
these are Ford Interceptors. We were able to get them at the 2014 price tag, so right before they move into the next build production. So that's a plus for the county, I feel. I've also included a package of what we're with the vehicles, not just what we're buying it. You have that. You should have that in your packet. And it just lists some of the standard package that we're looking at, plus the options that you also have to throw in there. And of course, as at least 2/3 of you are aware, there's always other costs as far as installation. Once the vehicles get here, we have to install several other things, and that's an additional cost down the road, over and above the cost of the vehicle itself. But again, I can explain that to you further if you like.
No,
You good?
I think, yeah, we're good. Questions, gentlemen? With none, call for a vote. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 3-0. Miscellaneous item 5. Approval of exoneration orders.
There's some. Okay.
Yeah, we do. Couple.
So move to approve.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. County bills, general county bills. Karen?
General County is $60,206.40. P-card payments for all funds was $58,508.63.
Move to approve.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Animal shelter levy fund bills requisitions.
They're okay to pay.
Move to approve.
Questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Fire allocation bills requisitions.
They're okay to pay.
Move to approve.
Questions? Comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Library levy fund bills requisitions.
We received requests from 2 libraries, and they are okay to pay.
Move to approve.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Shoulder workshop levy fund bills requisitions.
They're okay to pay as well.
Move to approve.
Discussion? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Same. Motion carries. Comments? Employee or county elected officials comments? Employee comments? Department comments? Karen, you're first.
Me first.
Expected a lot out of you today.
Yeah. Okay. Well, it's January, so the elected officials will have their paperwork from the last fiscal year and their current 6-month expenditures next week for them to start reviewing their budgets. So the month of February, we'll be working on that, and they are due by the end of March. So, fun times.
So we're just past the first of the year, so we should be at 50% of the budget.
All percentages should be at 50%, yes.
Not over.
Yes.
Good.
Correct.
I know there will be. Anything else?
No, sir.
Thank you. Counselor?
Wish Mr. Jones a happy retirement happy trails and many adventures from here on out if that's what he wants. But well, done a good job for the county.
Sheriff?
Nothing as far as the sheriff's department goes, other than wishing Mr. Jones, I've enjoyed working with you. You've always been very upfront and quick for an answer, and I appreciate that. But I really can't believe you're actually retiring. I'm sure you've got something else somewhere.
On the horizon. Thank you, though.
Nothing that you're getting ready to share.
Anything else, Sheriff? Carol, anything else?
Very well, retirement, well-deserved retirement.
Emergency services, anything back you two of us here today?
Yes, of course, the snowstorm that everybody's talking about, and hopefully everybody knows about. But in any case, we're monitoring the situation, and the weather people have us at best case scenario, worst case scenario, and the storm's tracking wherever it's going to track to. We would advise all the people to make sure they have some supplies in, if they have medicines from the drugstore, those type things. And we have contacted three of our shelters to make sure that if we needed open shelters, they would be available, and they are. And there's typically Chester, New Cumberland, and Weirton areas is what we go with first, but that's if needed. We're not going to staff up until maybe the snow, maybe they missed it, because they've been known to miss it on an occasion. But it appears that it's going a little further south than us.
Who else is here today? 911? Anything yet?
My turn. I just have a year overview from last year of what all the 911 did. We handled 107,493 calls, was incoming and outgoing calls. Of those calls, 20,095 were 911 calls. We recorded 469,928 radio transmissions. So that would be all of our PDs, fire departments. So that was almost 500,000 radio transmissions that we had last year. We had a total number of 29,191 CAD incidents that was created. So with that, our busiest month was in May. We had 2,790 incidents that was created. And throughout the days of the week, Friday was typically our busiest day, with Thursday coming in second. You would think that Saturday would be, but it was close, but Thursday was the next closest. And with those calls that were recorded, we had the most calls created between 6 a.m. and 6 p.m. at 56.16% of those calls. And from 6 p.m. to 6 a.m., we had 43%. So there was a big difference in the numbers that was actually recorded during the daylight hours. And as we had the city of Weirton had 46.63% of those calls, and the New Cumberland had 16%, Chester had 11%, Newell had 4%, and then we had the out of jurisdiction, which is when we got the calls that we transferred. So as we progressed and we did our EMDing, which we started a couple years ago, we created 3,318 ambulance calls. And 489 of those calls were reviewed as per required through our ACCO. And as of that, grade average was a 93.14. So we are well above the average of what we need to be. And we continue at that rate. And so that's what we did last year. I continue it to be as busy this year, if not busier, especially with the move and everything that's happening. So, you have any questions?
Same question as always.
Mm-hmm.
We had 4,887 911 calls.
That was for the 3 months. That was for October,
Oh,
November,
okay.
and December. That was your
Okay.
quarterly.
That's okay.
Yes. So,
And-
yes.
And the administrative incoming are
The calls that, the 4100, the 8555
Oh,
numbers
okay. All right.
that come in, or any of the other courthouse numbers is associated with it. You see the courthouse phone calls, those are admin lines, that extensions of the 224 and the 275
All right.
that are actually answered as well. Because some people, instead of calling the 4100 or the 797-855, they continue to call the 3311 and the extension of 224.
okay.
So,
I thought it was the call. Okay.
no.
Sorry.
That's okay. So there's your overview, guys. Thank you.
Thank you. What else we got here? Election office is here today. Anything? Next Saturday is the deadline to file?
Yes.
All right. Next Saturday at midnight?
Yes.
Is that what it is? Or postmark? Isn't that what it is?
That's correct.
Oh, we got a couple health department personnel here today. Anything, ladies?
Today.
Okay. Mr. Vias? Anything else?
Following suit, I'd like to wish John Paul happy trail, so to speak. I know he wants to do some wintering elsewhere. It's a gentleman who, over the years, has never been afraid to come out at night or on a weekend. He's shown me some parts of the county, Abbey Road, a few other different locations that I'd never known about. So I'd like to thank John Paul for all the time and effort that he has given the county. And in the same breath, I'd like to tell Jeremy to make sure that in the next month you get everything out of his pockets that you can get. You steal that little blue book of his and all his phone number.
Thank you.
George?
I'd like to wish John Paul the very best in his retirement. And I know he's done a heck of a job. And I haven't known him that long, but in 6 or 7 years, I really learned a lot about you. Most of it's good.
Thank you.
Most of it.
Maybe 60-40. That's all I have.
All right, thank you, sir. Gentlemen?
Well, we had a nice report from Carol Shearbaum, and in sports-minded, sometimes a good team has a good coach, and they perform well, and they excel, and they get to where they want to go. And I kind of look at your group and think the same thing. It's a great group, but I think you make it better from everything, you know, all the details you give us in your meetings and everything. And I'm not sure that, I imagine there is someone out there that could do the job, but I appreciate the job you do and the drive that you have to get these kids where they're at. Just let it, it's not unknown what goes on down there, and I want to give you a lot of credit for that. And as your report indicated, you've got some great active people in there and beautiful pictures
Great
and everything.
volunteers and staff.
Yes.
It's just that simple. It's very, very dedicated. I appreciate everything that they do.
And I put hope, I'm speaking for my co-commissioners, that we appreciate everything you do.
Thank you.
Well, you already closed, the books are in order, so we're going to scratch that. And then back to JPJ. I think you're doing what everybody wants to do someday. So I'm happy for you. Is it a loss for us? Possibly. Anybody replaceable, we can replace you. But John, enjoy yourself. Spent a lot of dedicated years here, and I think you took a tremendous interest in that job. And you always have that smile, and you still got one right now. So thank you for everything. I know I've only been here a year with you, but I dealt with you when we were on school board, and you do an excellent job of what you do. So thank you, and good luck. That's it.
Carol, I'd like to just bring to your attention this past Monday, Tuesday, I was in Charleston, and there were folks throughout the state there from Extension. And obviously they know I'm from Hancock County, and your name popped up right away. And you're well respected down there, and they appreciate the work that you do. So obviously your leadership is noticed throughout the state, not just here with your with the kids you're involved with. So keep up the good work.
Thank you very much.
Jonesy, I think you've mentioned before you were going to retire and you haven't, so I'm not going to get too excited until maybe the end of February, maybe, because you might change your mind again.
Well, we'd have to revote.
Or Social Security's got to be here in 4 days.
Yeah. No need to.
Yeah.
No need to.
No, there's a window of opportunity here. You gotta do that when you have that chance.
Well, we wish you the best, but Jeremy will step right in there, I'm sure, and do a good job. So, but good luck, have fun, stay warm. Your intentions, right? That's all, Commissioner.
Hey, neighbor, John Paul's my neighbor, by the way. Lives across the street. So, you did a good job, but you basically excelled in keeping this commission informed of events throughout the tenure I've been here. Sometimes it was 11 o'clock at night, and there was some lady blew a breaker on her computer at Beaver Valley, and he called and got us out of bed. But you kept us informed, and that was vital to us, because if something does ever happen, we understood what was going on before we actually got the media contact. So thank you for that. Thank you for being good for the county. And if you get bored, just walk across the street. There's a lot of things they've done over there, so you can help out if you'd like. Okay, thank you. I did a couple interviews this last 2 weeks about the state of the county. I did one the other day. One question was about being a lame duck. And I says, wait a minute, I'm just a run. I'm not going to be a lame duck. I'm going to go out firing. And I'm not going to go over that again because I did it last time. The county's in fairly good shape right now, especially with our buildings. It'll be decades before we have to pump a lot of money into buildings. So real proud of that. Looking back, when we all run for office, we always have a platform and goals. And one of the goals, believe it or not, was on my brochure was parking at the courthouse. And that's what we can check off. Other than today, you come to the courthouse now, there's plenty of parking. And so that was one of the goals I was sort of proud of. It only took 11 years, but we achieved it. Another goal was, and we're working on it, and we can't scratch off the list because that's what has to continue from here forward. And on my brochure I had down, I want to bring my children and my grandchildren back to Hancock County. And there's only one way to do that, and that's through jobs, economic growth, economic development. And although we haven't reached that yet, they still live in Tennessee and New York. It's gotten better for some people, and they have been back. We have created jobs. This county commission stood up and invested monies. And the seeds we planted actually started to grow. This past week, the $5.5 million Dodge dealership opened up through our seeds that we planted. So we're proud of that. But the ball has to keep being carried. That is our future. And during these last two interviews, the biggest thing is Hancock County, being the smallest county, has the least land inventory and opportunity. But again, the last month and today at lunch, we met with Ted Arnaud. And Ted is the former president and CEO of the track, Mountaineer. And he is heading up for the new owners to sell off their surplus property, 1,300 acres. That's huge to our county. That's the way we're going to move into the future. 1,300 acres of development. The number we would put on that would be millions and millions of dollars. The next step's going to be the same has to happen to the Weirton Steel property. That's another 1,400 acres. We're looking at 3,000 acres we're sitting on that's just sat there for decades. We have to develop those properties. And I've already started talking. I'm going to go out with a bang I've always talked to some of the councilmen in Weirton. We've got to do something to press to get those properties on the open market. That's the only way our children's going to come back, is through that. So 11 months, and that's going to be my swan song, I hope, is to press that. Other than that, I think there's a couple housekeeping. The courthouse will be closed on the 15th for President's Day, and our next meeting is set for February the 4th at 2:30, correct?
February 3rd, isn't it?
2:30. What did I say?
You said February 4th?
Yeah.
Oh,
Is that it?
yeah.
Okay.
Sorry. When you said March 3rd, I looked that up on the calendar. I was thinking, that's hearing the same day as a meeting, that's good.
So if there's no other order of business for the good of the order, gentlemen, I'll take a motion to adjourn until then.
So moved.
We are adjourned. Thank you.